What's going on, guys? Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to wrap two doors at one time on this Honda Civic Type R. So one thing I want to talk to you about is the space, this little gap right here in between both doors. Sorry, let's get you a better angle here. So what you want to do is you're going to have to wrap this piece, right? As when you close the door, this door overlaps that piece and you're going to see white right through it. So not a good idea to leave it blank. You're going to want to wrap it. So I've got my Vivid Gloss Riviera Blue right here. I'm going to lay it out across both doors, making sure that I have complete coverage. It's going to be a lot longer because this is actually from a bumper. Alright, so I'm going to cut it off at the ends here since I have quite a bit extra. We'll stick the scrap piece back in the car. Alright, so we're going to position this probably down a little bit. Needs to come down a little more. It's a pretty tight squeeze as far as having enough vinyl goes, because this was actually cut from the front bumper or rear bumper, and I just have left over here. So I'm going to use it. See if I can use it. Alright, so the best way to wrap both doors is to not actually wrap both doors at the same time. Wrapping both doors at the same time is going to cause you to miss that little sliver that sticks out. You'll have to go back in there afterwards and stick a piece in there. I don't recommend it when you can do it in one piece. So don't be lazy. Do your wraps, do your doors in two pieces. We're never really wrapping it in one piece. Alright, that's just not a great idea. So I'm going to divide this in half-ish. Perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this one back and I'm going to work on the front door first, just since it's a little bit easier. Perfect. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that right over here, I'll show you, I'll zoom in a bit for you. So right over here, the fender, well, I've loosened the fender, but it actually protrudes a little bit past the door right here. So we have to be very careful with this cut, making sure that we have enough, we come kind of straight up with it, and don't run short on this corner here, because that won't fold over afterwards. It won't cover it. So one thing to keep in mind. Also, I started a new YouTube channel, so if you guys are looking to take apart the car, I have a new YouTube channel that shows how to get these door handles off, how to get the window trim off, and how to get the mirror off on this side. I'll post it right in the top corner for you right there. Also, as well as the tools that I use and the color of this film in the description below. So if you guys are looking to buy anything, it'll all be there for you. So what I'm going to do is just anchor it down. I use 2 magnets. I recommend 3, just so the vinyl doesn't pivot. I'm comfortable with this, as opposed to if you're more new at this, you might not be as comfortable with it. Perfect. So this door has quite a big recess on the bottom there. What we want to do is we want to lay the film into that recess. I'm just going to grab some Shield Guard, because this is going to help my squeegee glide. Again, in the description below, this is going to help my squeegee and the buffer glide along the edge. Okay. So I want to find a hard body line, which is right here. Perfect. Before I do anything, I'm going to come up with the film so I can lock in the top section. This way I don't get any dirt or contaminants falling in from the top. Not that there should be, but again, it's possible. So the temperature in here today is quite warm. It's about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Feels like 35 degrees Celsius or so. But you can see the buffer, and so the buffer I use is Monkey Strips, and the Shield Guard in combination works really well together. The squeegee glides really effortlessly. Now we're gonna go start going down. There we go. I just want to free it up, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glass it out slightly. Well, if I can. I'm getting hung up on the fender because it protrudes over on this side here. All right, start that again. I use my finger usually to outline the door handle area. And then we're just gonna squeegee the air out, okay? So when it comes to squeegeeing the air out, we always wanna try and keep things symmetrical and even as possible. This way we don't start to get too many wrinkles. I find holding the film up helps as opposed to just laying out the whole thing. You know what, I'm gonna bring you guys an even better angle over here because I'm probably in your way. All right. Right there. So we can see everything that I'm doing here. So right here I have it hitting the fender, which is causing me some resistance. So all I have to do is lift the vinyl back a bit. What I'm going to do is add a little more Shield Guard. You don't want to get Shield Guard under the wrap or any soapy solution or wet solution under the wrap because you'll lose adhesion. All right, it's coming along. So all we're trying to do is squeegee it so that the wrinkles are staying away. What I'm doing here is I'm reading them and I'm watching them as I squeegee. So having a solution on the film actually allows the squeegee to glide over the wrinkles a lot better. With that, you don't get wrinkled up as much. All right, so over here, it's gonna start to get really bound up. So I'm gonna add a bit of heat. Just to get the wrinkles out, okay? As far as the amount of heat that I'm using, I'm putting the heat gun on its hottest setting. This way I don't have to waste any time when it comes to waiting for it to warm up. So sometimes it's just better to pull it back if we get an air bubble, as opposed to try and squeegee it out or deal with it. Oh, this one I'm trying to deal with. So this is heat activated adhesive, remember that, guys. So the warmer it is, the more difficult it's going to be to install. What's nice about the heat activated adhesive is that it doesn't leave a lot of glue lines in the cooler temperatures. It doesn't even leave any glue lines right now, but because it's heat activated, it doesn't really leave any glue lines. You notice how when it pulls back, it just kind of tears back? it doesn't stretch back. So when it stretches back, that's what happens with Avery and 3M. That's kind of when you get your glue lines or your repositioning lines. While Vivid just kind of snaps, pops right off when you pull it. You can't actually snap and pop Avery off like that. It doesn't work. So as far as the way to reposition it, it's just a bit different on how you lift it off. A little bubble there. I know I have another recess coming up, so I'm trying to lay all of this in. We want to be extra thorough when we get to the bottom. This is a spot where a lot of people tend to miss a little bit of air. Yeah, there's another dip coming up right here. So I'm making sure always that I'm laying in. The most important thing you do is lay in to these sharp corners right here. This is going to make it so your wrap will last forever. If you stretch into there, we're just causing tension, and that can over time cause the wrap to lift. All right. Perfect. So I missed a spot here. I got some air in between the gap. Just gonna pull it back and lay in again. And this door is done, other than the door handle cup. So being very thorough down here and making sure that I'm getting all the air out. All right, so now what I'm gonna do now is roll the vinyl underneath slightly, okay? This is the amount that I'm going to tuck. And that's it. Cool. So, my pouch is kind of getting in my way here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is get a glove. This little thing's kind of getting in my way. Let's put it in my pocket. There we go. Whew, it's hot in here today. All right. It's just been a really, really hot summer. All right, so you can see my door isn't even fully closed. It's not a big deal. I'm gonna go over all of this, making sure that everything's kind of locked in before we squeegee. Sorry, before we cut. So we're gonna lock it all in. I'll zoom out a little bit for you. So what we can see here is in this area right here, is the vinyl is not able to lay exactly flat. Zoom in a little more. Right here. So it's not even on the door completely yet. I'll come back to that in a minute. Before we cut anything, what you want to do is you want to take care of your door handle area. So that way if we make a mistake, we can actually go back to fixing it. We can pull the vinyl back. So if it's all wrinkly, what you want to do is you want to heat it until it kind of gets smooth. And then we're going to go for the lowest point first, which is right in the middle. And again, we just want to keep it warm. Using a glove helps a lot. It's very recommended that you use a glove for this spot. So I'm going to start here, push here, because I know it's a deep recess. Same deal over here. So we can outline everything really nicely here, get all that done. I got a little air bubble here, so I'm going to take my air release tool, which is just a pin in a pen, again in the description below. Pop that little bubble out. Cool. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I need to free up the film from the edges so I can open the door. Zoom out again. Let me bring the camera down a bit. So the way I do this is I take my blade and I start just kind of inside a bit, not right at the end, and I run the back of my blade on the underside. I'm on the opposite side of the door right here. This gives me a nice straight even cut, and I don't have a ton of extra film kicking around the opposite side, which is fine because we don't need that much. It's the bottom of the door and there's little to no stretch there. Okay. For here, I need to give myself about 1/8 of an inch. This is more of a freehand cut, so I'm going to guide, because I don't have a fender here to help me cut on the other side. So I'm using my finger as a guide. All I want is about 1/8 of an inch. Normally I would be cutting on the fender side, but we don't have the fender here, so it makes it a little bit more challenging. So now it's way more freehand. Take your time. Perfect. What I'm going to do here is pull this back, okay? And then I'm going to cut this excess off. Perfect. Now, what I'm actually going to do is close the door. Should have closed it to begin with. Let's get it closed. There we go. Now it's closed. So now what I want to do is go over this entire gap. I'm going to cut on the opposite side again. I'm just going to smooth out this film. So I should have had this door closed to begin with. It would have made this a lot easier. Perfect. So we want to make sure that we're cutting on a nice smooth edge like this. We don't want to put our blade out too far, just slightly, because we don't want to cut into the opposite side, that little bit that's sticking out. Back of the blade on the door side, the rear door side. When I come down around the bottom here, I'm going to show you as I zoom in. So right here, when I come to this point, what I do is I cut around, okay? So I'm going to cut around this corner, leaving myself about 1/8 of an inch around the corner. This makes it so that I don't have too much extra material on the end. And it allows me to cut the corner really nice. Sorry, it allows me to wrap the corner really nicely. Cool. So, spin the camera back up, and zoom back out. Now that I have that open, for this area over here, I've loosened it. So I've loosened it off the fender so I can start actually tucking in a bit. I need to come in here, okay? Once I get it in here, I'm going to trim some away, and then I'm going to open the door and take care of the top section. Perfect. So I'm just going to take care of this little top section right here and finish it off. See, having the door open gives me access. So now that I have that, I'm going to cut this off, the extra material. Perfect. So that is now out of the way. I'm gonna open the door a little bit more so I can tuck it all in. And then for here on the back side of the door, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it right now, okay? So I'm going to heat it, and then on these corners, what I want to do is I want to heat it and push down and around. This gets the wrinkle, if there is going to be one, onto the back side and not the front side. Same with this edge right here, this is corner. And then I want to gradually work the rest in, okay? So heat this, push it around. Again, gradually, okay? Again, another corner down here. Heat it. If you heat, the warmer you heat it, the more likely you are to get rid of the wrinkles on the back side of it when you push it around. So down here, so gradually working the film, right? So I'm gonna go for the bottom here. Work on the corner, right at the very bottom. I'll show you this afterwards. It'll look fairly straight, just kind of depends on the metal that's inside the door here. There is like a pinch weld, so. But the vinyl cut is straight because I cut it on the back side. So I'm gonna go over the bottom edge here, make sure this is all tight. Perfect. We can close the door now. The magnet got trapped. All right, so we can close the door. And we can start working this area here. With the side skirt out of the way, I have a lot of access to this edge. Normally you don't on most cars. So I'm just using my finger and a glove. Then we'll tuck the rest in. Perfect. And I've got one little air bubble down here. Gone. Perfect. So now that that's done, I'm not even working hard and I'm already sweating. It's crazy. So now that that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to do the top edge. So when it comes to doing this top edge, I'll show you how I do it. I'm going to make sure I push everything into the gap and not stretch it into the gap. Not that it really matters that much, it's just we're going to be cutting it away anyways. So right here, cut up, no cutting on the paint. Okay, I can fold that piece in. All this is going to get cut right along the top edge. So let's do it. So down here I have to be a little more careful because I do have a painted area. Don't want to cut it, so I'm going to actually lift the vinyl up and start it. It doesn't have to look flawless under here. Again, we do our best. All right, so now we can start cutting on the very top. So there's little notches usually, so your blade will sometimes get hung up. Don't try and force it. Just go around them. Let your blade kind of float with a bit of pressure. All right, now that that's off, we're gonna go over the top edge with heat. I'm gonna fold that around in a second. Make sure that's all locked down. So for this guy right here, don't like it. Looks ugly and you're gonna see it because the trim won't cover it. You peel it back a little bit. Heat it, and then roll it around, okay? Perfect. So let's have a look at the inside of the door here. We're all done. Oh, I got one little spot to trim up over here. I'm just gonna do it quick. Just the end of the door. Okay. Cool. So let's have a look at what these edges look like. So this is pretty much as straight as it'll get. We can check out the bottom corner here. It's not messy or anything. Sorry, let it focus. It's not focusing. There we go. All right, so you can see it. You can see the whole edge. Right? Bottom edge, can you even see it? Probably not. Yeah, it's not gonna be an easy one to see. Top edge, everything looks good. And there was no cutting on the paint. Again, I didn't leave too much vinyl here when I cut around. That way I could fold it around and not have excess film. If you have excess film around your corners, it's guaranteed to make your corners look sloppy and messy. And that's how we wrap both doors at the same time, but not wrapping both doors at the same time, because you never want to do that. You're going to miss this piece on the inside. I'll do a video on the back door also. I'll do it separately just so you can see me wrap the inside trim here. I'll explain that as well. Guys, if you like the video, do not forget to hit the like button. And if you guys want to see some more videos, do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Take care.